Welcome. Yes, I am loud so that you pay attention. I'm also talking to the camera here because we are streaming this and recording this. But this is the Greenlight event. So more people will slowly filter in. But the Greenlight event that you guys are here for today is basically the accumulation of all of the work that the game program, and to be fair, soon enough the entire school, is built around. And that is getting students to pitch ideas, right? To take the things that they have created and build them, actually potentially ship them, and get portfolio pieces, get their names out there, actually make money, and work in an environment that is very similar, if not almost exactly the same as they would and actually having a job in the industry. So that is kind of what we're doing today, right? That will be the main point, the idea, and there's a lot of people that are involved. So I want to start by introducing people. My name is Matthew Marquit. I'm the MC today. I do game art and animation, and game design is my majors. We do have Derek Clark, who is somewhere. I don't know. Oh, he's right in the front. He's so easy to be ignored. Derek Clark is right over here. He is our game champion. He's actually in charge of all of the game degrees, which I believe are 5 or 6 now. How many do we have?
4 undergrad, 1 grad.
Okay, so 4 undergrad, 1 grad, so 5. So we do have our 5 degrees. We also have Lynn Understiller, by the way, which is, Lynn's really been the one who's kind of worked this system, this whole Greenlight event, the production studios. Even though, yes, everybody has contributed, she has done the most work, so let's give Lynn a hand. And the current teachers are both Lynn and Derek. They are the ones that are in charge of the production studio classes, so you guys will have a lot of interaction with them. But we also have Hugh Henry, our game programming professor and a graduate professor. We have George Portillo. We do have him. I don't see them. He's at Game On. So I thought he was just being lazy. Wouldn't be surprised. But yes, George is at Game On right now. And then we have ourselves, Adam Moore, right? So game programming, he teaches in game development, and so on. Mark Feldman, who is our game programming teacher also. So we do have a lot of people. Let's give a hand for all of them. Now, obviously, everybody who works at UAT makes this happen. So I'm not just saying, whatever, we're the only ones that do anything. But the truth is the students are the ones who really make this happen, right? Without the students, without the amazing work that you guys have been doing, we wouldn't be here. Right? The Greenlight event has turned into something pretty amazing, and this is because of the work that the students have done. As they continue to do better, what we notice is that the next term, other students try to outdo them and so on. And I've been here 5 years, and I remember seeing some of the first ones, and they were pretty good, but the stuff we're seeing now is actually starting to get pretty insane. Like, I'm really, really impressed. In fact, when I was in school, I would have never been able to work on things like this. Right? If you guys have seen any of the trailers, if you've seen the work that these students are doing, it is really, really amazing. And I do also give a lot of credit for the people that bring the students into the school, because we do have some of the best students coming in we've ever seen also. And so those teams are doing great on top of the fact. So as I said before, it is a combined effort by everybody who works here, by all the students who go here. And so congratulations to everybody. Let's do another round of applause for everybody. All right, so introductions and that such aside, if we have any current events announcements, we're going to go to Derek for that. Derek?
Okay, a couple quick things. Obviously, Game On's going on this weekend. If you can get down to Game On, definitely check that out. For teams that want their video in the booth, Tyler, you're the one that has. Tyler has a flash drive, and before she leaves today, if you haven't gotten your video on that flash drive, it won't be in the booth. So make sure you grab her, get it copied over there. I know some of you tried to email it to me, but we're just going to have her compile everything for us, because they're going down to launch Game On as soon as this is over.
Yeah, Austin and I are going to be heading out to Game On when pitches are over, so right around noon. So if you need to load up your video, get with me as soon as you're done with your pitches. Okay, guys?
Thanks, Ty. Allie has an announcement that everybody will like.
Oh.
You can make it from there if you want.
Oh, it's okay. So after pitches this morning, the external group that is using our site has about 60 boxes of extra cookies, and they want wanted to make sure that wasn't going to be a problem. So just wanted to make sure you guys were all okay with eating some cookies to celebrate in conjunction with lunch in the cafe today. So.
Woohoo!
In that light, though, make sure that, you know, as you're working around, obviously the campus is set up differently than it normally is set up. So be respectful. I know they're going to be using some computers in the commons and things like that. The vast majority of the day, we're going to be in and out of here, though, so we're not doing a lot of development out there. But kind of be aware of that. Also for, I guess, the communication meltdown team, mostly, I stole a bunch of equipment out of the NT lab, so good luck being working in there. It's down at the convention center. Those are the big ones for me. I don't want to spend much time. The last thing I want to do is just kind of acknowledge some people I see. Doug's back with us. Good to see you. Daryl's not here.
No, they couldn't make it.
We've got the admissions team.
All in the portal.
Thank you for coming in. We've got a former employee / governor candidate.
The Governator.
Noah is in the building, so welcome. I think that's all I saw from outside. So, thank you guys all for attending. Hope you enjoy what you see. Lynn, do you want to do any of your announcements, or are we going to go right to Adam?
Let's go straight to Adam.
All right, Adam Moore, come on down. He's going to be our alum spotlight. He's also a teacher here. He does pretty much everything. Adam.
All right, so I know that the schedule has me for 15 minutes. I'm also going to keep it short because we're really here for the pitches. I'm here to talk to you a little bit about the IGDA. It stands for the International Game Developers Association. We have chapters all over the world. We help game developers with professional development, networking events, and we advocate for things that are important for them. And we actually have a chapter that meets here in this room Thursday night at 7:30 p.m. every week. So next semester, week 1, come on down, and we're going to cover a lot of topics that you don't get covered in your classes. Right, thanks everyone.
All right, so that was pretty quick, just getting through all this stuff. So now really the bread and butter of the whole event is these pitches. So just so you guys know how this works, all right, each of these students will get up, some alumni, some current students, and they will pitch their ideas. You guys will have 5 minutes. I will actually set a timer. You can't go over that. So make sure you are under that, but you'll talk about your game and talk about all the stuff that's so great about it. You'll tell us about what your plans are and so on. And actually, for anyone, especially for people in the future that want to pitch too, keep in mind we have a whole list of things that we've developed as faculty about what we're looking for, what needs to be in the pitches, and so on, right? So that you guys can come best prepared. Tell other people, get them to come and see these things too. It's really awesome. But what we're going to do is, after the pitches are done, as a game faculty, we'll get together. We'll think about which of these games are the best, right, for multiple reasons. And then we will choose which games will be in the production studio classes next term. Those are the games that will actually be built by a class of a group of students working together on these games. So that's how that works. Now, we also tell people very often, it doesn't hurt to pitch, right? Because even if you don't get in, we'll tell you immediately afterwards, after the event, about what we can do to support you anyway, so even if it's not in production studios, but how you can do better so you can come back. We actually have students that have done that. You know, it took them like 3 tries before they finally got in, right? And they really pushed themselves. They put a lot of effort into it and so on. So this is a lot of effort has gone into these pitches. A lot of things, a lot of thought has gone into these. These aren't just like these little whims of the students. I think this is a great idea. Let me get up in front of people and start talking about it. No, there's been a lot of effort that's gone into this stuff. We can even see it, and you guys obviously will witness it. So without further ado, let's start. And we're going to start first with another great alum that we have, Donald Seppis, and with Gray Area. Let's give him a hand.
So let's camera fix. And then let me struggle with unfreezing for about 5 minutes. There we go. Okay. Hello everybody, my name is Donald Seppis. I am the team lead for Gray Area. And to just start off with kind of where Gray Area is coming from, Doug Doyne and Daryl Wofford, who are a pair of industry veterans. Doug's over there. He's not going to want to stand up because he doesn't like the attention that we foster on him. But they've both got, I think it's combined, what, like 24 years of experience? 25, 26. And they came to the game studio and they wanted to present a project that was about some historical events that we think maybe possibly, who knows, happened in the Roswell Desert in 1947. In Gray Area, you play as the sole survivor of the Roswell crash, the famous one that we have all these crazy conspiracy theories about. And over this last semester, we have been able to make great strides in creating the vertical slice to fully represent what this game is and help bring Daryl and Doug's vision to life. We spent about 7 weeks of this semester in pre-production. The more iteration we can do early on in the process, the better for artists than later. And then we spent 8 weeks in full-on production. And to show you the fruits of our labors, I'm going to go ahead and play the build real quick. Hopefully it's not too loud. And what you're going to see is the very first moments that the player is going to experience in Gray Area. They are immediately dropped in, and we are here in the Roswell Desert next to our crashed spacecraft. Now, Gray Area is about the Gray, and he's not, if you look at him, he's tiny, he's 4 feet tall, he couldn't really hurt the soldier that's patrolling nearby us at all. And so what the Gray's main focus is escape, evasion, and using his telekinetic abilities, or not his telekinetic, his psionic abilities, to influence the people around him in order to complete whatever objective. So Gray Area, at its core, is a stealth game. And so you can see here, we've been pushing forward and trying to get our core gameplay loop. We've got our NPCs walking around. We've got our Gray moving around. You can see the difference in scale as well as all the work we've put into the environment. And so that's kind of a taste of what our super pre-alpha build is. As I've said, we've just started on the steps to making this into something that people are going to want to play. And so we had a bunch of plans for this semester for what we wanted to accomplish. We kind of wanted the bare bones of what it is to actually be this little gray alien. So you have to have the ability to hide. You have to have the ability to move around. There's the crash site that you start at, and then we also need to create some sort of sense of danger and conflict within the environment. And we were able to get all of these things done. We had a wonderful team this semester that was able to really spread out beyond the things that they are usually comfortable with, spread out beyond their typical roles, and able to add a lot of value to this project. But obviously, from that short look, we're not at the point where we would call this a full game. So what are the things that we need to, pushing forward, get done? Well, we need our full influence system. This is a lot of gameplay design. This is a lot of systems design. How does the Gray actually influence the NPCs around him, changing their state and forcing them into positions that he wants? We want to continue the story of the Gray, moving on to the ranch zone. We want a complete UI overhaul, so that way the player is never questioning what they need to be doing, as well as objectives, so that way you can actually have a sense of accomplishment. Now, so having said that, you know where we started, what we did, and where we want to go forward. So why is Gray Area a good project for the Greenlight studio? Well, first off, Doug, Daryl, and also Mike Shapiro, they're all professional stakeholders. They've worked in the industry, they know what they want to see, and they've got both the resources and the knowledge to really propel the team forward and show them things that you're not otherwise going to learn until you've already gotten your first job. And by that point, it's much harder to learn there. We've got experienced leadership. I've been involved with the Greenlight program for 3 years now, the longest of anybody on the student side. I've led both professional projects in the studio as well as student projects. And so you're not having to reinvent the wheel as often as we are. We also have a unique development setting with our 1947 crash, and we have a focus on mentorship. We want everybody on our team to be learning every single day they're developing with us. And so we need UI programmers, AI programmers, environment artists, character artists, but all kinds, because what we need is just to continue moving forward. And so I hope to see you later this semester, and I hope to see you next semester as we continue development on Gray Area and help everybody on the team become the best developer that they can be. Thank you.
You ended perfectly. And next is Regis Jerry with Looters of the Arcane.
Why do I have to be short? Hello everybody, my name is Regis Jerry. I am the lead for Looters of the Arcane. It is a game where you're supposed to fight when you can and run when you can't. During this semester we did end up getting an LLC, so now the game is under production by Evil Bear Gaming. And then what Luda is it's a survival horror game where the player has two objectives: secure the arcane object and get out alive. The core features are traveling back in time, conducting antiquities operations, as well as true PvE, which is a SIP. We did expand it a little bit so that it is now environments with a personality. So now the arcane objects actually give the environment a personality, and the player actually interacts with it on a fundamental level, more than just interacting with only enemies or some games where it's only the environment that you interact with. So it's a little bit of a mix of two, and the environment will actually interact in different ways with each level as you play. For instance, the Asylum level, we ended up giving it a crazy personality. So one of the main ways that we did this was with living doors this semester. Originally the doors just opened and locked and they were just regular doors, and we made them seem kind of haunted. But as we progressed forward, we ended up giving them a trust factor. So you have to actually earn a door's trust, which when we asked a lot of gamers, they didn't actually think of ever doing that. And then from there, we also gave it the ability to eat. And we are going to give it a mouth later on, coming up. And so as you walk up to the doors, you give it a chair, you give it an object, and if it doesn't like it, it will actually spit it back out at you. It's a little bit hilarious, but it also makes some people jump. And then Ancient Egypt, that's the map we're currently working on, and it's in the final stages right now. We're giving it a neutral personality, so it doesn't like to be disturbed. Any time you're running through the map, if you end up knocking stuff over or messing with something you're not supposed to, that's when the enemies will attack you. That's when everything starts to go south for you. And then we now have the hub world, which is where your actual company works. The company's name is AOA. It stands for Acquisition of Antiquities, but it's actually a front. What it actually stands for is Arcane Object Acquisitions, and that's just a little bit of the lore that we ended up coming up with. This level serves as the staging area and also the tutorial zone for the new players, so that one, they get to learn everything about the game, and two, they get to do it in a safe environment. It's also going to serve as our multiplayer hub, so that as players group up together, they can have fun teaching each other the mechanics in like a just gentle environment where they don't have to worry about getting scared, they don't have to worry about anything crazy going on. And then it's also a good spot where you can unwind after, getting trapped in a bunch of doors and having ghosts come through the walls at you. The new mechanics that we got in this semester, we ended up getting a lot done, and we plan on getting a lot done going forward. One of the main things that we did, though, was multiplayer. What we're going to need, though, is we need artists, because we do plan on working on more levels. We do plan on working on more mechanics. The main thing we need from programmers, though, is we are going to end up needing AI programmers. That's mainly because with the Asylum level, we have 2 enemies. We want to add more, and then with Egypt, we only have the 1 enemy type right now. So that's a little bit unfortunate. But yeah, we want to expand with 2 new levels. We want to improve our multiplayer, and we want to continue to have fun. And thank you for your consideration. And now it's time to go to Ancient Egypt. Yeah, so with this map, we really wanted to focus on being able to scare you in the light. There are a lot of games that don't really do that. So we ended up adding in a sandstorm. We wanted to really bring Egypt alive, and a lot of people, when they first saw it, thought, this is Egypt now, right? So Ian ended up putting in a lot of the art as really flashy, really gold, really trying to make it as new as possible. And if I can go just a little bit ahead. And then some of the new traps that we ended up adding were like these arrow traps here. So all along the wall there's arrow traps, and what we want to do going forward is we want to be able to add new levels in different eras. So right now we only have 2, and we want to have 4 by the end of next semester. And then we also want to be able to actually release this game on Steam coming up in the spring. Thank you for your time.
All right, next on the list is John Cavassi with Dawn of the Dreadnoughts.
This picture real quick. Okay. Hello everyone, my name is John Cavassi. I am the project lead on Dawn of the Dreadnoughts. Dreadnought, a type of battleship introduced in the early 20th century, larger and faster than its predecessors, and equipped entirely with large caliber guns. To say this better, a bigger ship with even bigger guns. In Dawn of the Dreadnoughts, you, the player, have the ability to manage your troops that fight valiantly on the hulls of these 2 massive ships. Fly your ship and fight in an epic battle between 2 giants for supremacy. You are the captain of a real-life dreadnought. The project began with an idea, a blank Unity project, and a desire to make a game that is both fun and innovative. During these past 14 weeks, the team made it a priority to bring these massive ships to life in a way like never before. We thought that the best way to do this would be to focus on bringing these massive ships into the game and allowing the player to build just a few structures, you know? This is what we have.
Part of the trailer.
We built an RTS framework from the ground up and allowed these ships to fight in real time, along with giving the player the ability to interact with this epic battle between 2 giants. There's still work that needs to be done in order to make this game really come to life. If given the opportunity, I plan to use the next 14 weeks to go through the project code and groom it in a way that makes it easier for new developers. Let's see here. Makes it easier. Add additional art to make the experience feel more immersive. Finish building the RTS functionality that was started during the first 14 weeks of production, and perfect the player-controlled flight that was pioneered last semester. As it stands right now, confirmed for next semester, my team is going to be going in with me, John, and 2 programmers. One of our online programmers, Amanda Nielsen, our online programming lead, who was instrumental in building our game, and Nate Scott, a senior gameplay programmer who was just amazing. His work is some of the best I've seen. Who we need. There's a lot of work that needs to be done, and we definitely need people. For this project, I'm going to need UI artists, 3D modelers, VFX artists, along with programmers, primarily focusing around gameplay programmers. Designers, I might only need maybe 1, art-centric or either another systems designer. So, what we can offer you. As a project, we are a SIP, and working on an RTS is great in either a resume or portfolio. I can't wait to see this project succeed, and with your help, it will. Thank you. And then since I have time, I'm going to show off the build a little bit, if I can find it. Anytime now.
Dramatic pause.
Very dramatic.
30 seconds.
Okay, well, build doesn't want to work, yeah. Anyway. Oh, now it.
You got 15 seconds. Do it.
So, this is our title screen. So all of our systems working. So, I can build all sorts of kind of stuff on the ship. And yeah.
All right. Next, we got Todd Dickinson and Siege Bots.
Hello. For those of you that don't know, my name is Todd Dickinson, project lead for SiegeBots. SiegeBots is a game where you can kind of express your creativity and freedom in building robots. Let me just skip ahead there. So we've got all these different bot pieces and things like that that you can use to build your own robots in any way you want. With any weapons, any visuals, movement pieces, stuff like that. And then based on the pieces you use, you can create AI for your robot. This is really the core gameplay of SiegeBots, is creating AI so that your units perform exactly as you expect. We've made a lot of work this past semester in improving the flow of this. I think making a robot that actually works takes less than 5 minutes now, as opposed to half an hour of people struggling to understand what's going on. As you can see here, this is based just on the parts that were used and the AI that the player built. The robots are attempting to chase each other and things like that, fight each other. So that's kind of what we've accomplished this past semester, past 14 weeks, and our plans for the future are a lot of world building. We plan to create more environments. We're kind of limited at the moment. Increase our challenges so that you can fight pre-built bots, and create a conquest mode where you conquer territory with your robots. We also plan to continue working on our UX to streamline and improve our gameplay experience, add and integrate more bot pieces, and improve our AI systems a lot more, stuff like that. So who we need really is some artists too, for concepts, UI, UX, low poly models, textures, environments, things like that. Our art style is low poly with grittier sci-fi textures. We also need 2 to 3 designers for levels and gameplay, and improving our UI and UX, things like that some more. And 1 to 2 programmers experience in object-oriented programming and event-driven programming. Thank you, and if you want to follow us on social media, that'd be great. That's all I have. Thank you.
All right, next we got James Fisher and Life and Death.
It's or no, just what?
It says and. I'm sorry.
Where am I looking up there? Hello, everybody. I'm James Fisher, project lead for Life or Death. Oh, what's that? Life or Death. I'm gonna start with it. I don't like people seeing my
Fell
face.
back down, so it's just gonna look at his neck.
Sweet. Just look at my chest. big guy. I'm gonna show off like some of the things we accomplished this semester and everything. We were able to get in for like the culture we were doing and everything. Get in some of like the blacksmith market, like soldiers, armor sets, weapons. We even got in some of our own animations and got the multiplayer up and running where you can die. Like there's actual game loop where you get currency and experience. Get in there just to show some of the animations. We got our own animations. I know they look a little wonky, but they're our own, so we're proud of them. You know, get into the presentation of what we need and what we're shooting for. Okay, well, you know it's life or death. So our goals that we have for next semester for programming is we would like to make it to where people can make their own combo system. Like, I think it'd be cool for people to be able to decide, like, oh, they're 2-hit combos, they're 3, so on and so forth. What move sets and like what like goes through and decides like what's gonna play next. We also want to make it to where players can have their own lobbies and people can display the like go through everybody's main hub and like basically party invites. Also want to have it to where you're able to make your own choice at the end on whether you want to kill your opponent or let them live. So like kind of a system where if like you kill your opponent, they can beg for their life or they can like accept their death proudly. Or vice versa, if you're the one who kills them, you can choose to spare their life or, you know, take it. We also want to make it to where you can be a part of the crowd. So like say you and your friends want to watch a fight and you want to see who's going to, you know, get down, you guys can go in as part of the crowd and cheer on your, like, you know, your opposing, like boo them or cheer for the people you want to win. Our other goal is having 2 different type of cultures, and that's Aztec and like samurai, like the whole Japanese vibe. And with that, we want to change, like have more weapons for both cultures and building types. So depending on what culture you decide to start with is, you know, what kind of buildings you'll have, what kind of weapons you'll start off with initially, and armor. And we want to have some for both of the cultures this time instead of just focusing on one. We want to like up the ante and see if we can get in more. So what we need is we need more artists. We need 3 artists, 2 programmers, and 2 designers. This semester we didn't have a designer, and I learned how like crucial that could be for a team. I used to say they're worthless, but now no, they're anchors right there, you know. For the artists, what we need is anybody who can handle making armor, weapons, hair, because we also want to have character customization, which we do have a little bit of now. Programmers, anybody who just wants to learn and is willing to get in there and work an engine and see what happens. And then designers, man, anybody who could put things together, because that was definitely the struggle this semester. But that's everything. Thank you for your time. You guys have a great day.
All right, next we got Tia Neal with Secretaries in Space, or Jordan.
Yeah.
Apparently Jordan.
I'm Tia Neal. No.
Okay, you want to drive? All right, so I'm Jordan Young, actually, lead design for Secretaries in Space. It's essentially a team-based brawler that's with full online mechanics where you got secretaries in space.
God damn it. Okay, there you go.
So this is a project we've been working on in the past semester, and we've actually been able to get a lot done, especially from a blank slate. Like we only had ideas, but nothing ever built in. And so if you go forward with the beautiful team we have that we had this semester, you know, thanks that we have full-on working multiplayer compatibility with lobbies up to 8 players and actually functioning AI. While they are basic, they're still AI that are present and you can still come across them. Now, immediately I want to say that the secretaries we want with us are people who are more on the animation side. We need some people with 3D or even texture capabilities. And programmers, we'd love to have more AI, networking, and even then perhaps even some environmental interaction. One of the bigger features we're going to add later is dynamic levels. So go ahead. So like I said, Secretary of Space is a sci-fi first-person ballerina style game where you're going to have this strategy twist because it's a 3-way battle between 2-player teams and an AI team. You know, there's been AI in battles before, say like in MOBAs and such. However, they never really were a threat in the fact they could win the game and both player teams can lose. Thus, we're adding a new feature where it's like you can co-op with your other players that are on another team, or you can backstab them. But in the end, you have to be smart enough to gather resources and work together and hopefully win the battle. So, go ahead, Dan. And like I said, this is also a SIP project, so we're going into our second semester, and if you join us, you have something under your belt, a portfolio, and you get to say you were a secretary. Like I said, here are a few of the features. The 2-player teams, a little enemy team that's full of AIs. We're also trying to build in different secretaries that have their own classes, their own unique weaponry. For example, in this next semester, we're trying to create a medical secretary who's going to serve as a healer for her team, and yet her weapon of choice are fists, or I should say gauntlets, made of defibrillators. So she can stun you and also revive your teammates if she wants to. There's also that strategic resource management, and no, it's good. Here are some of our concept art that we have so far, and working art. Here's some of our UI design. We're still going to want some more, especially in-game. Some of the resources themselves, like we have crystals for now. Eventually, maybe food or whatever else. Crates to store them in. And of course, those are just some of the character ideas we got going on. Next. And here's the level we've been building from scratch. We were able to show off some of the logo for the mining level. It's on like another planet. We're going to flesh it out more, so it's more like a cavern in itself that they've been digging into the earth of this planet. But we're just showing off some of the basic assets for now. You can see the layout. These cones and barricades are actually interactable, so like in game, in lobby, you can actually start running into them and like bump around, kicking at each other. I could see it as a fun activity or even weird strategy once the game mode's fully implemented. Next. So as for what the plan is, for the next 15 weeks, here's just a general synopsis of what we're trying to get. Character models, animations, UIs, weapons. Next. And overall, just trying to get some few things in. I definitely want to get the chat functionality in, because with this online interaction, it's going to be great to be able to speak with your teammates and other team members on the other side if you want. But overall, I would say, come on and join us. Become a secretary today.
Yes.
All right. Next, we have Austin Harrington with Communication Meltdown.
Well, I'm getting set up. Can we give one more round of applause to all the teams that just pitched? I'm very proud of everybody. It's been fun watching all these games get done. Let me find it.
Where
are you? There we are.
In VR.
Then you pick the gray area better than I pitched it.
Okay, hi, my name is Austin Harrington. I'm the director for Monster Vault Entertainment and team lead on Communication Meltdown. I'm going to quickly go over what the game is, show you what we've done, and then I'll talk about our pitch. So to start, what is Communication Meltdown? Communication Meltdown is a 4-player cooperative puzzler in the style of Keep Talking and No One Explodes or Star Trek Bridge Crew. What does that mean? It means it's a game about giving and receiving instructions. One player gives instructions to 3 other players. Those 3 players have to carry them out. I'll show a video in a moment to really show what that means. Communication Meltdown is a very limited scope. 2 environments for our early access build. It's built in the Unity game engine for the Oculus Rift and HTC Vive. I'm going to show a quick video, talk you through it, showing what we've done this semester. So to start, we had to create a lobby system for our game. And so in multiplayer VR games, sometimes it takes a while to find players to play with. And so we wanted to create a space where players could hang out, they could have a little fun, they can wait to get 4 players into an environment, and that's this employee lounge for our first environment. And so you can see we've been working on hands, we can pick things up, we can play darts. It gives players a little bit of agency just to make fun themselves while they're waiting for the core gameplay experience. And we'll be moving into the core gameplay experience in just a moment. I'm actually going to turn this video over to my team who play tests the game to show you what this is really all about.
Is a circle with a line and an R inside of it.
A circle with a fish.
It's not. It looks like an R. Does it look like the Robin symbol with the extra line? It's that one. Okay, it's clear. It's clear. It's a circle with another strange thing inside of it. That's what I don't want to describe.
It's a black hole.
That's no.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. The third one's footprint. Human footprint.
Well, you press it?
fourth one is the blue lever to the back. She got it? Authenticating? It works! Yay! Let's go!
So after we finished this environment on our core gameplay loop, we started working on our next one. This is the second lobby environment. Our next environment is a steampunk, clockwork, kind of more fantasy-driven environment. And so you can see our lobby is almost like a library / cigar bar. It's where people in funny hats and monocles would hang out, right? Our artists have done an amazing job here. We really challenged them to go above and beyond anything they've ever done before, and they're doing an amazing job, as you can see. There's some really high quality assets here. Our artists are doing absolutely amazing work. I can't gush enough about them because they are amazing. Our goals for next semester are pretty straightforward. We want to complete this steampunk environment. We've got another reactor to do. We've got to reskin a lot of our assets. We need to get gameplay into the second environment. We feel we can do that. We've already got the gameplay program. That should be relatively quick. From there, we need to polish, and we need to work on our fun factor. It's already a really fun game. You heard people are having a great time. We want to continue to work on that. But also, visually, we want to polish things. Hugh Henry once told us that the benefit of our team is that we have art, that we have a team that can make games look good. And so we really want to capitalize on that. We're working on menus, and we're working on completing an early access build, which I'll talk about in just a moment. So, why Greenlight us? Well, we are Monster Vault Entertainment. We're an alumni studio. You all know us. Well, most of you know us. We were founded by Mike Demo Densmore, one of the greatest artists that we've ever had come out of the school. We have a very experienced leadership team: Tyler Cook, Josh Kazel, myself, Mike. We've been in UAT Game Studios forever. You guys know we've done our very best to help develop the game studio into something really awesome, and we've been a big part of that. We offer great educational opportunities. So as you can see, our artists develop faculty. I don't need to tell you, because frankly, we all talk, and I've read reviews on some of the projects that our other team members have done. You see it. You all see it. We have one of the best teams at the school, and people aren't coming in that way. They're developing with our team. We also do internships, which again gives an opportunity for students to get college credit while we can't pay them for doing really awesome work and trying to get a game out. We develop great portfolio pieces. Clearly, this game here, we're actually showing at Game On Expo later today. It's called Unholy Descent. We did it at a game jam. We do game jams every semester, and we try to do really cool VR experiences. The most important part of my pitch, faculty. Last summer, when I pitched Call Center Simulator, I made a promise that in 2018, I would release a game. Our team would release a game. And I'm happy to announce that assuming we can work with UAT Game Studios, we are going to finish this early access release by the end of next semester, and we are going to get this in the hands of players so that we can get feedback and we can finish it. With your help, we would like to have UAT Game Studios release a virtual reality game for the very first time. Before I go, I would love it if you'd follow us on social media. Also, we'll be at the UAT booth at Game On Expo. I'd love to see every one of you there so you can test out our games in person. Thank you so much.
Slight change in schedule. We do have a external game, Junior Achievement game. Derek Clark is going to represent that. Oh, they're going to.
One of the things that we do try to do, you may have noticed in those pitches, there's a lot of LLCs involved. Doug's here from the external, so we're always looking for external partners. So these fine ladies approached us. It should be on the desktop. Yeah. They approached us with an idea that they have, so we want to run it through the Greenlight process as well. So I'm going to turn it over to them and let them introduce their idea.
I'm Catherine Sakala. I'm the president of Junior Achievement, and this is Colin Cox, and she's Senior VP of Programs. Junior Achievement's a nonprofit serving 83,000 primarily low-income kids in Arizona, teaching them critical skills so that they can succeed and work in life. We are making a difference. If you're part of this design team, you will be making a difference in changing lives of kids throughout Arizona. We know we're making a difference because we've got lots of data that shows it. I'm going to just tell you one quick story. We get letters all the time from kids. There was a letter we got last year from a young man, Watson, 7th grader. He says, "Dear Junior Achievement, thank you so much for teaching me about budgeting. My mom works really, really hard, and she says that we don't have enough money to pay our bills every month, and so she has to pick and choose. I took that budget that you gave me, and I took it home, and I sat down with my mom. And together we made out a budget. And my mom was super excited because she says this will help her credit score. We found a way to pay our bills every month. But the best news of all is that there's $10 left over at the end of each month, and I get to keep that as an allowance. What Junior Achievement does is change the lives of kids like Watson, but we also changed his family's life. And that's what we are doing. So with Junior Achievement, we teach kids about work and money. And we do it by experiential. We don't tell them, because that's not how kids learn. They experience it. So who taught you about work and money? Anyone? We don't really teach it in the schools. Parents are afraid to talk about work and money. In fact, they'll talk about work. But more parents are more willing to talk to their kids about sex than about money, because that's just a very scary subject. Junior Achievement's doing that. And we're doing that with the work of 9,000 volunteers just in Arizona every year. We are in 391 schools. So we're in the schools teaching these kids, primarily low income, these really important skills. So go ahead. We have in-classroom programs. 60,000 kids a year are getting this. And this game that we're talking about, a financial literacy game, where kids could experience scenarios and make choices and learn by doing to really change their lives, that's where we'd be delivering it primarily in the classroom. We are located, we are statewide, but our primary office is right there on Southern between Priest and Mill. And if any of you have ever been there, have been to BizTown, you know how incredibly fun it is. These kids come in there and they're adults and they run the economy for a day. And so here's some kids here working in BizTown. We also have Finance Park where we give them scenarios. Here's your scenario. You are an architect making $100,000 a year, and you don't have any kids or significant other. Or you are a child care worker and you're making $20,000 a year and you've got 2 kids, and they have to budget their life. And the kids walk away from that saying, oh my gosh, I never understood why my parents had to work so hard. And they make choices. In fact, 80% of the kids who get Junior Achievement say Junior Achievement changed how they thought about their life and what they would do in their future. We know our programs make a difference. 30% more likely to graduate college, 67% more likely to get a graduate degree, 34% higher critical thinking skills. When we talk to employers across the nation say students aren't ready, high school graduates, college graduates are not ready to enter the workforce. Why? They're lacking problem-solving critical thinking skills. Our kids are getting that. JA students are 143% more likely to start their own business. So we know our programs work. They work today. But are they going to work for the future? The world's changing so quickly. The future these kids are going to see is different than what it is today. And this is where we need your help. We think to be more relevant and to be exciting for these kids in the way that they're learning now, how can we digitize the game? How can we make a financial literacy game where it's fun, where they can learn by doing? With your expertise, you can help design that. What's the right approach? What's the right way to do it? What are the scenarios that they can go through? We're targeting 6th through 12th grade students throughout the state, primarily through the schools, but it could also be in charter schools and in home and in rural communities. We can reach more kids. You can be part of making a real difference, really changing lives, and these are the kinds of things that keep people from ever becoming hungry or homeless. We are really making kids financially stable and succeeding in the world, and with your help, we can do even more. Thank you.
All right, next we got Dakota Stoner with graffiti.
It's gonna be actually running. Hey, so hello everyone. My name is Dakota Stoner. I am project lead on Gangs of Graffiti. So what is Gangs of Graffiti? It's gonna be a third-person multiplayer arena shooter, where a gang war has broken out in graffiti, and you are going to be part. You're gonna be part of one of the gangs, and your job is gonna go around and fight the other gangs and. That was a mistake.
This presentation's explosive.
Yeah, it is. That's just good. I don't know if that's good. There we go. Yeah, so your job would be to go around and paint surfaces to paint the city to take control from the other gang so you can eventually win the turf war. So we don't have anybody, I couldn't find anybody, or didn't want to take anybody from the presentations to show off multiplayer, but it is in there. But you're able to go around, fight each other, kill. We don't have painting in yet. It's going to be a major focus. We do have a second tank model in. We still needs to be cleaned up a little bit, but it's there. So what's next? For design, we would like to add the spray punk gang, define them more, what they can do, and all of that. So we can start actually implementing gangs, and so people can play on different sides and all of that. We also want to work on the game mode flow, what it is exactly we're going to be doing, what the objectives are, and all of that. We want to start designing more weapons for people to use. For programming, we want to finish the mechanics for turf tag, which is adding objectives, winning a match. So you want just stuck in an endless stalemate of just killing each other, so it ends and then you can go in and start it over again. We also want to be able to implement teams for multiplayer, so you'll be able to join your friends and go fight your other friends and all of that. So yeah. For art, we want to make a male and female model, get them rigged and all that in, so we can actually have our second playable character, so they can get in and out of tanks and run around and go paint. We also want to, I want to create more UI art that's more based around graffiti, so it looks more like what I'm going for, and also create two additional tank models that the players will be able to choose and run around and play with. So, oh wait, yeah, so for designers, level designers, for who I'm going to need is level designers, programmers, multiplayer programming, where's my track? An artist, more like modeling artist, UI, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, thank you.
All right, next on the list is Marcos Escobar with Rift Wars.
Hello, everyone. So my name is Marcos Escobar, and here I'm presenting Rift Wars, which is a project that I've been working on for the last 2 years of my time here at UAT. So Rift Wars is a digital strategy card game. It's very simple. It's going to be on PC using the Unity engine once it's completed. Right now I have a build available for the public to play on Tabletop Simulator on Steam. So Rift Wars is a very simple game. The idea is that you and one other player control a general card. Your two general cards are given the task of killing one another. You do this by controlling an army which consists of 3 different card types. The card types are your unit cards, which are your soldiers and heroes, who are tasked with eliminating your opponent's soldiers, as well as eventually the general cards themselves. Your equipment cards, which give your soldiers and yourself upgrades and boosts, as well as other special benefits, and the territory cards, which can provide you with much valuable resources and offer bonuses that can drastically change the course of the game. Now, I've already finished the initial production for this game. The rules are in, the basic functionality of the cards is in. Everything that to start this game has been finished, and it's currently available on Steam through the Tabletop Simulator game. But there's still work to be done with it. Obviously, the game being a card game is going to have a 2D art style from not only the card assets but also the UI as well. I've already made some cards as well as other pieces of artwork for those cards as well, but there's much more to be done. So the prototype cards have been completed, the rules have been finalized, the GDD is completed. There's a full integration into Tabletop Simulator, and I can go in and add more cards as I progress with the project. It's obviously available to the public, and it has gone through the SIP process. And in the future, if more people want to come on and work on the project, it's completely open to more innovation and more changes from future developers that want to work with it. Okay, so what I want to have done is I want to have its own engine, and I want it to be playable for the public, at least some sort of playable build, even if it's not a complete version of the game, at least something for people to get a hold of, sink their teeth into how the game functions, how the cards work, how the deeper mechanics of the game work, and so on and so forth. I want to get the final artwork for the first faction finished, at least by the end of the first production cycle, and start production on the second faction, which already has its cards set to begin work on. Okay, so what I want to do with the time in the studios is ensure quick and easy to learn gameplay, so old veterans of card games and new players can come in, they can pick up the game and they can learn it real quick, and they can start enjoying themselves without having to understand all the intricate details that some card games have and are really bogged down, that make them very unenjoyable and make them very slow and dull for people who aren't used to those types of card games. I want the cards to feel alive in the gameplay. I want the players to consider every action that they take with the cards, as well as with every action that they take against their opponent, and how every action can either lead to their ultimate success or ultimate failure, as well as a dynamic and ever-changing playing field. I want the game to feel alive. I want every card that you play change how the game feels and how your strategy will ultimately evolve as you continue down the path. So for my team, I need at least one designer for artists, because there's a lot of art assets that need to be made, and 2 programmers to help build the engine and get everything going. So this project needs to be digital, because a physical version of this game, we've tried it before, it doesn't work. The game is too slow, there's too many numbers to keep track of, especially with everything changing on the drop of a dime. So this project, for it to live properly, it needs to be in a digital format. Okay, thank you for your time and your consideration.
All right, next we got Kevin Alvegard and Enrique Garcia with Project Odyssey.
Real quick, sorry about that.
No, Kevin, you cannot.
Freeze this.
The live stream doesn't get it paused, just for the record.
Oh.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
It's recorded forever.
Yeah, and it will be on YouTube.
And they can pause it.
Your freeze was negated. Yeah.
Freeze is a waste. Now for that, I'm gonna go look it up right after. I'm just gonna go watch it right now. I need to go watch this one. Fluffy buttons.
That's actually pretty close, Markwood.
It's not Sailor Markwood.
No, that's a scrap project. We don't talk about that anymore.
Password is Hugh is my favorite teacher.
Oh.
30 seconds. It's the most common password at this school.
I almost did it. You almost got it.
Yes, you're going in.
Ooh. My name is Kevin Albergard, and my co-lead here, Enrique Garcia, and we are working on Project Odyssey. So, Project Odyssey is a 2.5D puzzle side-scroller that uses time and perspective-based mechanics in order to actually solve most of the main chunks of the game. Now, what's so interesting about this is that our story is also our gameplay mechanic. Got it. And the most important part about the gameplay also interacting with the story is that we also have a lot of mechanics that are geared towards this, and the puzzles are designed towards this as well. So we have a lot of perspective mechanics and puzzle mechanics that are focused towards those perspective elements. So you have puzzles that are actually geared towards your So we have a lot of perspective-based mechanics that are focused towards those puzzles in terms of the 2.5D stylized perspective, and also a ton of those.
This is like the only slide that works. Yeah.
That's right, it's loading. Will do. One of the most interesting things about Odyssey is not only the puzzle design, but we also have a lot of core elements that use time resets. So once a player actually goes throughout the interactions of a single day and talks with an NPC, that NPC will go through a story phase that will actually reintroduce the player as that NPC. And they'll be able to actually go throughout the day as that NPC and actually learn more story elements from the game to actually solve more puzzles. So we actually have a level designed where there is a market that the player has to get into, but they have to actually get into that market by using their surroundings to find out what exactly the password is to the market. So they can go inside Mr. Green's house and kind of find elements to actually figure out what his occupation is, which is related to his actual puzzle for the password. So that's just one of the levels we have currently designed for the game. In addition to that, we also have a bunch of other pieces to the project as well in terms of our future goals. So some of our future goals that we have for the project are going to be getting these puzzles designed for phase 1, which phase 1 is kind of like 20% of that beginning chunk of just design and art. So we were trying to get a lot of artists to join the team. We're in need of 3D/2D artists, environmental artists, and character artists. Designers, we need UI designers, narrative designers, and just level designers. And programmers, we'll need around 1 or 2 gameplay designers as well, or gameplay programmers as well, in addition to most of the other kinds of programmers that are interested in joining us as well. Me and Enrique are mostly doing the visual scripting/programming parts of the game, so we're not in too much of a desperate need for programmers, but programmers would be nice to still be able to join the game and actually interact with most of the things we have. We also have a lot of things that go into our future plans as well. So we have a plan mechanic for our third and final mechanic, which is the day reset. We want players to actually be able to reset throughout the day and use these perspectives in order to actually interact with the gameplay. And one of the final things I'd like to talk about is kind of our team. So we have a current team of 5 members. It is me, Enrique, Darren Palermo, Nathaniel White, and Ross Hall. Ross Hall is a programmer for gameplay. Nathaniel White is an AI programmer, and Darren is going to be one of our level designers for the project. And that's just kind of the kind of team that we have currently built right now. We're going to see if we can actually get a quick gameplay video up and running, hopefully. But, no, we could have just... That was weird. Huh. Well, you guys can actually see some of the little clips of gameplay that we have. So that's the 2.5D perspective that's actually happening over there. We also have some identifying mechanics on the next slide that the player can actually go and identify things in order to actually see things in different perspectives. If you keep going, actually go back a little bit. We do have a GDD, a prototype complete. 2 out of 3 of our main mechanics. We have a bunch of additional features like a perspective mechanic that allows you to look up instead of just inside a specific area, and a couple of other things that just make the game more aesthetically pleasing. Continue the next slide. We also have a ton of puzzles that are currently designed for the game as well. So like I said, the game is using a lot of those perspective / visual mechanics in order to deliver the game. And those are just some of the things we're using for development.
All right, that's about it.
All right. Next is Kobe Anthony with Trials of Astrum. They gotta go back.
I guess so. It's okay. Alright. So yeah, I'm Kobe Anthony, and I'm going to be showing off a game that we've been doing for the last 8 to 10 weeks, roughly, called Trials of Astrum. It, at its core, is an RPG, and we want to focus on making sure that the players are truly immersed and they really have the ability to do whatever they want in the game. I'll go ahead and show off the quick questing system. Basically, right now we want to focus on getting a lot of the groundwork done to get things running. We've got a lot of what we wanted done this semester. And whenever it comes to the art style and everything that we want to go for is we want that cartoony vibe, but also we want to step away from that. Every MMO or RPG right now is huge with that realistic graphic. That's really kind of the market for every game right now, is they want to be real, they want to simulate what we see every day. We want to go for that old WoW look where everything was really animated, but you were able to see that there was a difference. We do have the ability to level your stats and everything for some reason. Sword seems to be breaking. But when it comes down to it, we've gotten a lot of this first area flushed out completely. We have the day-night cycle. We have a lot of our scripting and programming done. Right now, in this, we have a lot of ability to explore and see the different art styles and assets that we have. A lot of what we've done is handmade, except for certain placeholders. For next semester, we are going to continue, and we have plans to mocap every animation in the game and truly do design at its core in fine detail. We really want to have every single placeholder that we have right now flushed out, interior design wise, exterior, and using small assets that are made to truly build something that comes to life as you go through it. Right now, we are lacking on the artist side of things. We have one, and I feel bad for putting so much workload onto him. But for what we've done, it's simply amazing with the time period that we've had. I think outside of that, I believe that is everything that we have so far. I'm looking forward to continue working on the game, regardless of whatever outcome should come out of this. I'm going to continue working. It's a really interesting, unique game that we're going for, and we want to continue progress with it as much as possible. So yeah, thank you guys, and that's everything.
All right, last we got Frank Casella with Drone Simulation.
All right, good morning. My name is Frank Casella, as many of you know. I was also, I'm retired from the Navy after 20 years, and while I was in, I did Intel. So this has a nice place in my heart. Anyway, so as you can see, there's all kinds of different drones here. some have guns, some have explosives, some do just sensor work. In the military, if we were going to go after this airfield, we would look at destroying the runway to prevent our enemies from using it. But the runway itself is not the threat; it's the aircraft. Problem is, we can bomb them and send missiles, but we can't guarantee that they'll actually be destroyed. And when the pilots do drop bombs on them, they never, according to the pilots, they never miss. 100% destroyed. Until we have satellite imagery fly over, we have to download the imagery, somebody has to read the imagery, somebody has to report on the imagery, and decide on a restrike. My project would have a drone fly over, a recce drone fly over, identify the target, in this case a MiG-29 Fulcrum, and put from the drop-down menu, identify it as an aircraft, as the MiG-29. We want to destroy it, and then we're going to fire the weapon. Now back at the airfield, that recce drone would assign, in this particular case, explosive drones to fly into the weak points of the aircraft, into the intakes, the exhaust, the landing gear, and the cockpit. Destroy it. Then that recce drone is right there to take a picture of that event, and we'd have immediate what we call bomb damage assessment, so we know the aircraft is destroyed. My project would be to create that drop-down menu and the programs behind each of those events or options. And of course, as you can see, there are other options to go after tanks, radar, SAM-site ships, and other things. And all these can be done, create a program that will do all that stuff. And that's what I'm looking forward to doing. And I would really like to do that to support my brothers and sisters in the military. I'm looking at 2 artists, at least 2 programmers, and I'd like another designer programmer to work on this project with me. Thank you for your consideration.
Alrighty then. So, we did end a little bit early, that's good. Gives us a little bit more time to work through things. So congratulations to everybody who has pitched today. This is not going to be easy. As the game staff, I'm sitting there looking at this and going, oh man, we're going to have to narrow it down again. And so there's going to be probably some people that have some really good ideas that are not going to make it, but that's just because there were so many good pitches today. It is actually really impressive, and every turn we see it just gets better and better. So it is very exciting, but it's also, a little bit heartbreaking. But keep in mind that the way we do it, as I said before, we look at a lot of different things. We look at where you are. We look at strong leadership. We look at the creativity, the SIP potential in some cases, things like that. And we try to make it the best for both the school and the students. And so if you don't get picked, keep in mind it's not because we didn't like you or you didn't have a good idea, right? Remember, we're going to try to support you anyways, regardless of the situation, but just be mindful of that. But we're going to work through that. What we're going to do is we're going to take a break now, lunch break. We won't come back until 1 o'clock, so we'll have about an hour and 15 minutes, right? So we as a staff will get together, figure this stuff out. But when we get back, we're going to have some award ceremonies. We're going to do a couple of extra things, and then we're going to get into actually letting you guys know who was selected, who was not. Otherwise, the rest of you can go out. You can set up some of your builds and things out there if you want, have some play tests if you have any of your content out there, but that's what we've got going on. So is there anything else you'd like to add, Lynn, before we break?
Yes, Leeds, as you know, this morning we need to pivot just a little bit, so you do not have your tables. So grab a space right out here in the large commons if you'd like to answer questions and get people down to play test your game. And at 1 o'clock we'll come back in here. Can I have a big round of applause for everybody who contributed?
Real quick, Leeds, Tyler Cook is in the NT lab. She needs your trailers as soon as possible. We've got to head over to Game On, so please get in there and give them to her.
Awesome. All right, break. Do what? Stop recording.